Entertainment Banter is a podcast that may use inappropriate language for some viewers, and as always, please wear your face mask while listening to the podcast. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Entertainment Banter. My name is Joel.
And I'm Matt.
Today's banter is going to be brought to you by the letter M.
The letter M, huh?
Yeah.
For Master Chief?
Oh.
Is that, you weren't going there?
Now I am.
I thought you were going to say H.
Well, we're not really just talking about Halo, if anyone got that reference. We are actually going to be talking about RTSs, or for you people who don't understand what that is. Matt, what is RTS?
I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't know what that is.
RTS stands for real-time strategy, and that should be around your time, buddy. Not
It started around my time, but I didn't come up with that. I would say, it's a game where you build and fight each other.
It's real-time strategy, and some of the original games that started it out was I remember playing Warcraft Worlds on Saturn. They also had StarCraft as well. Those are the two ones I grew up with.
StarCraft is the one I remember playing. StarCraft.
But Warcraft Worlds, a lot of people are like, oh, it's World of Warcraft. Well, World of Warcraft became what it is today following Warcraft Worlds. There's Warcraft Worlds 1, 2, and 3. And I remember World of Warcraft just followed in the lines of EverQuest. They became a RPG instead of a RTS.
Yeah, I was going to say, that doesn't... I thought those games were open world, but you didn't build.
Right. They used to build in Warcraft Worlds.
Okay.
But it was kind of cool, too. And those you can expand more. And then also, like we complain a lot in the game we've been playing, Matt and I have been diving into Halo Wars
late
2.
Yeah, late bloomers.
Quite a bit. And when I say quite a bit, we're probably playing it right now. We don't even know it.
Right.
It's so bad that Matt wakes up to nightmares of the pink beam of death.
It's true. It's true. I wake up
you would
screaming.
not know what that is unless you played the game.
My 2-year-old daughter comes in and comforts me.
But I wanted to ask you
Puts me back to
something.
sleep.
Yeah, I believe it. I wanted to ask you, Matt, about
Yeah.
our time with RTSs and everything.
Sure.
What draws you to an RTS? What's drawing you to this real-time strategy? You're not, because for people who don't know, real-time strategies are games. You don't physically play one character that fights. You're actually building an army. You build buildings. You build resources.
It's
and
like
then you
Sims, right? You're
Yeah,
building something.
Sure.
But the difference is, then, there's a battle.
There's another army. There's another
pending
army.
doom.
There's an army with the same exact resources and abilities, kind of similar to what you have. It could be slight differences, like in Halo, the aliens and the humans. And
Right.
the aliens are definitely OP, aka overpowered. But then there's also some environmental where you are and where you're stationed. And in general, you guys are all set with the same handicap.
Well,
so what draws
like, for
you?
example,
Huh?
the older games were more detailed. I think this, like Halo Wars, I think just due to online play through like consoles, I'm sure they had to kind of like put in certain algorithms to shorten it up, because I remember playing in college like StarCraft. Those games, some games went from like anywhere from 2 hours to like 16 hours, depending on who you were playing.
Oh my God.
It was intense. And I just, so I didn't do it that often, but when I did it, I mean, you were committed. Like you played it.
It's like Risk almost.
Right. So just to give a background for people that don't know, you start off with minimal resources and minimal supplies in most of these games, and you have to mine these supplies, create these resources. You have to build up your armies. You have to do research, what you call research, and you have to achieve certain goals of equity or whatever to achieve those research goals.
Right.
And then as the research grows, so does the power of your military. You have more capabilities, and so what's Joel's saying? What's the appeal?
While someone is lurking in the dark shadows doing this, could be attacking you right away. What is your appeal, Matt?
To me, it's like it's the race against time, right? Like the unknown, and it's also like the one time you can be truly greedy and be punished for it. And at the end of the day, you still live your life. But like you like to gamble with time. I think it's a game about gambling with time, and I think that's what like how close to the edge can I take this before I get destroyed? Because if you waste a lot of time researching and mining and building, but you don't have anything to fight with, or if someone comes and attacks you, you're crap out of luck.
It's also, I believe, it's a game about patience too. You need to know when to wait, because a lot of your bigger guns and the bigger armies you can build is usually down the line. You have to wait a long time or build up enough resources to do it. But I've been getting really annoyed at this game we've been playing. Matt and I went to bed losers a lot lately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely people online that know what they're doing, and they,
Oh my
of course,
God.
like in anything, once you discover the formula for success, you can't deviate from it. Honestly, like there's certain games that people that play them know. Once you get to this location, I mean, it's the same thing with first-person shooters. Like people early on would get angry with Call of Duty games because they'd call them the campers that would camp out at spawn points. So the minute you spawned in, you got shot instantly. You know what I mean? Like, so people, once you figured out these things, you had to figure out ways. You're not even fighting the game anymore. You're fighting the individual who's figured out how to beat the system of the game. Does that make sense?
It's true. That's kind of part of the game, though, because
Right.
it's put there so you have to adapt. It's never going to be in your mind when you first start playing a game like that, or a game we're playing. We're trying to think like, oh, in real life, but it's not what real life is. And
No,
and
not
you
even
you have to
close.
adapt to what the game is and what it's giving you. So while you and I were playing offline and playing against the computer, we were getting used to a different strategy.
Right.
But as soon as we
Practicing,
play it online, that all went out
All
the
out the
window.
window. All out the window. Yeah.
It almost seems like
Yeah.
everybody just like in the RTS, you're playing against real other people. It almost feels like everybody just comes at you right away. As soon as they can, they do, because they realize if you're new to the game, you're probably like, I'm going to build my resources. Because to be honest, I like building.
Right.
It is a good,
Right.
glorious feeling when you just,
Well, a lot
just
of people do.
demolish, but I love
Yeah.
building.
Well, a lot of people do. A lot of the articles that people have written say that they like building too, and like the game last. But again, they also said it's because individuals have found that perfect chemistry of what you need to do. So, like for example, I'm a loyalist, right? I like to pick the same character over and over again. I
And
like
also
to upgrade
complain
that-
about said character over and over again.
I complain about, but well, here's an example, right? You learn your character's faults. You know what they're good at, and you know what they're bad at. And in the case of the characters I choose, they tend to be slow learners. But once you, like that's what I'm saying, it's a race against time for me. Like once you learn what your character can do and make that character maxed out, then that character's unstoppable. The problem is you have to survive to get to that point. And a lot of times my characters don't. But
Did you say slow learner? Because that sounds like the person using them.
oh, that's cute. That's cute.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll be beating Joel in a game after this.
Are we going to
podcast.
play against each other? Are we actually going to play
Maybe we'll record it privately too, so that way we can hear you crying, and it could be a special podcast one day just for that.
I scream a lot when it doesn't go my way.
Yeah. But
It's
with,
not fair
particularly with Halo
sometimes,
Wars,
Matt. It's not
there's
fair.
certain characters. But what I was gonna say is with Halo Wars, for example, what we've been playing, Halo Wars 2 precisely. No plug there. The aliens, right? Like tend to be the more dominant thing. You said it so yourself earlier. So
They
like,
are.
if you deviate from a certain formula, there's a good chance you're just gonna lose.
That's fair.
Right. So, but I mean, over the course of the years, what were some of? I mean, for me, I only can think of 3. I played StarCraft. I actually played a Star Wars game called Star Wars Battlegrounds, which was very similar. And then now this Halo Wars 2. I haven't really played any others. Have you?
So there's a game that really started me on RTS, and I'm gonna go really old school on this. And not old school like, oh my god, I told you this the other day. The Instagram post I saw, the a meme or whatever. People are just fucking dumb, and I can't handle it. And there was a meme, and it showed like I am this old, and it was literally a kid holding up an N64 cartridge and blowing into him. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, N64.
N64. Who blew into N64 games? I never blew into my N64 games. They were solid. Like Nintendo got the shit down. I don't think I ever blew into my Super Nintendo games, to be honest.
I don't know about the Super Nintendo. I did Sega Genesis, and I obviously Nintendo for sure.
Sure.
But I mean, even like Atari, you know what I mean? I don't know if we blew in the cartridges in Atari, to be honest with you.
I don't remember. But anyways, so for Super Nintendo, there's a game called Populous.
Okay.
And it's a great game. Now I'm thinking about it. That'd be really cool if Nintendo puts it on the Switch, on the Super Nintendo emulator. But it's a fun game. It's like you're playing God, essentially. You're playing God, and you're pretty much building an army, and you build you just get little guys, they're little cavemen that ones look like, but they're like medieval guys, and you build land for them. And the thing is, I don't think there's resources in that game. You just have to build land up. Like your castles and houses are based on how big the land is. So when you build the land flat around it, it will become a castle. And castles are hard to destroy. And the goal is to destroy. The goal is to be the only one on this land until the next level and everything. And you can actually and you get like leader powers like we do in Halo. And it's like you play God. You do earthquakes and floods and swamps, and it's really, oh my God, that game's so much fun. I'm gonna go play it. But that's it's real time strategy.
Well, the other thing too that's interesting that you said that, because like it's kind of a twist on multi-strategy, and I'm gonna deviate just slightly, but you made me think as you were talking, Gears of War, especially 3, 4, and 5. They have these horde levels, right? Or the levels where it's wave after wave keeps coming after you, kind of thing. Now it's a first-person shooter version, or third-person shooter actually for Gears, but it's the same kind of principle. You have to build barriers between each one. You have to earn enough points to do it, and protect yourself and survive the hordes. It's not quite the same, but you are building and fortifying.
That's not a different concept across all game platforms. It's just real-time strategies are like you're an overlord that looks over your minions.
Right. So
when you're actually playing the character building up, it's a whole different game. Yeah, I mean, building things up has always been a thing across all video game platforms.
When you're playing this kind of game, right, you built your city or whatever your base, and they attack. They just come out of nowhere.
Oh, when you're not ready for it. I feel like they always catch me.
Do you take it personal?
Dude,
I
take it super personally, and I always feel like they catch me with my pants down.
Right.
Because it's like you're never ready for them, and you're just like, mother truckers. What the hell?
Do you find yourself yelling at your soldiers? Like,
all the time. All the time. And it gets really annoying, too, because usually right in the beginning, they send the easiest guys to kill, but usually I don't have anyone to kill them with, so you're just watching your base or city or whatever it is getting destroyed by the lowest of low, and you're like, you sons of bitches.
And then so the ultimate goal is to be completely dominated, right? Blown completely off the map, right? So either you destroy everybody, or they have to destroy down to the last man of you, right? That's how these games work, right? So,
well, have the most bases more or less. Like they can't have a base.
Right,
that's how we've been playing. Yeah,
they can't escape to something.
But it's kind of interesting too, because it brings in other concepts of a game. Like everybody knows capture the flag, like in a first-person shooter. But then in a real-time strategy, we can do like a capture the flag type game. We have the domination, where we have to dominate each tower, which is kind of interesting. It's like a tug of war.
Yep.
It's just interesting where like you get a concept of a game, and then you can create more games from that game, which I always find very interesting.
So I have a question for you. What do you find more exciting when you play? The building or the attacking?
I enjoy the building. Yeah. But then I feel like I transition to the attacking. Nothing feels good after they're attacking you like crazy, and somehow you survive. Somehow you survive, and then you dominate back. That feeling is so good. Like, it's like sex, man. Like, it's and then when you get down, like, what I like to do is when you get down to the last base, I like to toy with them. When you have map domination, I just like toying with them at this point. Like, what are you gonna do? What do you like? That one other day, you and I were playing against the computer, and we got down to just one computer, and it was just him. And I'm like, I'm going. He goes, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, am I waiting for you? All right, we can wait for you. And then we're just waiting. They kept sending out a guy at a time. We're like, we're dominating you. Game's over.
Right. So, it's funny too because do you think you have to change your strategy in these games? Because people that don't play may not know, but like you could literally be fighting over one plot of land the entire game. Like it's a constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Do you think if you were to continue that path, like do you think you would ever be able to advance if you just kept fighting over that one plot of land, or do you think you would have to go around and try something different?
Well, I feel like you're asking questions on the grounds of what we've experienced.
Well, all these games, like there's always that central. Any game, honestly, StarCraft had it. You know, the Star Wars Battlegrounds I played had it. Basically, there comes a point where there's like a bottleneck. You know what I mean? An actual bottleneck where either if you're playing another human team or AI team, it doesn't matter. Like it's like this is where everyone's converging. Do you feel like you have to continue the battle there, or is the strategy to advance around or something?
Well, you and I call those our ground zeros,
right?
And it just becomes like, oh my god, why is this base ground zero? Why? And we discovered that certain bases, certain locations become ground zero, and we don't know why. You and I have no idea why. They just do. Right. I love to see if I can keep getting that base, at least in the beginning, but it seems like the better tactic is to go around, or especially if your partner is attacking that, and it's just like a last stand moment, and your partner can go around and dominate the other way and have an ease of time, which we had experiences with too as well.
Well, I personally, when this bottleneck situation happens, when you finally conquer it, like, you know what I mean? Like you got that, you get that endorphin, you get that feeling of like, yes, you know, we finally beat this thing. And I know it sounds stupid, but it's like when you spend all this time building something, like in armies, like sometimes an army takes, you know, I mean, in the scheme of the game, it's not, life is not that long, but in the game it takes forever, right? You're waiting 30 seconds for this ship to be made, or when this plane or something.
And it's like the last thing you need, and it's just like, oh my god, can we just get this already? 30 seconds is like hours in that world.
Right, because by then your entire base is obliterated, you know?
Like you were complaining, you were building a super unit, and you're like, where'd it go? And I'm like, did they destroy your armory? And you're like, yeah. Well, no matter how close it was being finished, it's gone, man.
It's gone. Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah. So is there any franchise that you would like to see turn into one of these games? Like, you know, a fan of something.
I think a lot of games are already this way. Like, it'd be really interesting if Nintendo took a take on a real-time strategy
that would actually,
with the Nintendo characters.
We're copyrighting that.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting.
That's
like,
actually
imagine like
you're
in. Like it could be based off all Nintendo characters. It could be a Donkey Kong Country world. It could be a Zelda world.
Oh my god, that
could be
is
a Mario
brilliant.
world, because you know almost anything's been an RTS already. If you think about it, Halo's been it. Star Wars did it. StarCraft, Warcraft.
You could have for like vehicles. You could have Mario Kart vehicles.
Could you imagine?
Or Diddy Kong vehicles for air. I mean, like.
Well, look at the horseback you could have and all that with Zelda and all that. So.
Right. Because you're not limiting it to Mario. You're saying
Nintendo
brands.
Exactly,
Pokemon
and then you have
characters.
Bowser and his airships.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. This is brilliant.
Mario builds mushroom kingdoms. Bowser builds castles or airships. Zelda
we're not
builds.
Posting this pod because we're gonna go contact Nintendo right now.
No, we kind of need to. I mean, could you imagine like the resources you need to get are gonna be
that is really good. I'm
coins
like
and lightning bolts.
Excited about this.
Dude.
Like, yeah,
dude. I mean, I stare at this Bowser poster every time in front of my face, so it came to mind right away. But I mean, it'd be really cool. I've always thought, because Legend of Zelda.
I love the idea.
Legend of Zelda has always been like a scrolling, pretty much like it's like a action RPG, right?
Right.
You need to adventure to earn experience or to earn equipment to further your progression. And Zelda's always been like that. But then recently they created Hyrule Warriors, which is pretty much just a hack and slash game. It's an arcade style hack and slash, earn experience, just hack and slash a million monsters at once, which is fun. So they're not, Nintendo's not, it's not new to Nintendo to change a character or take a character, a franchise, and put it in a whole different game overall. I mean, Mario, they do it all the time, obviously, but oh man, can you just imagine? Oh man.
Well, I mean that would be great. And what I liked about your idea was the fact that because people that don't know, you can have different maps to play on. So the idea to have a Donkey Kong map or a Mario map,
man.
or even the structures. There's similar structures when you build them. Whether you have a Navy, Air Force, whatever. But I just pictured them either Mario Air Force or Donkey Kong Air Force. Well, it just sounds so clever and fun.
And you would have different leader powers. Like we were playing with Halo, they're called leader powers. You get special powers. And you look at Luigi would have Luigi's Mansion style things, and Bowser would of course be. I think Bowser would have a stronger Air Force because he has those airships, and of course Mario would have the stronger vehicles because he has Mario Kart. Let's play with, and then you have. Link would have better ground force because they're knights and they're
right. But I mean, he would still have gliders for air.
Oh, of course, he still would.
So, it'd be fun to see the different vehicles they would choose. Horses for Zelda, Link or whatever. Right, for the infantry. You know what I mean? It'd just be kind of fun to see that stuff.
Oh, it'd be so much fun. That would be so.
That's a brilliant
much
idea.
Fun.
And anybody else that's listening, that's a game developer, moving from this same idea, I would like to see a whole bunch of 80s ones. Like I would love to see a G.I. Joe one. That would be so easy.
Oh, that would be cool. Or He-Man.
Or Transformers. Or
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a good one. It may already be one, a Gundam one. There may already be a Gundam one.
That's
to be honest.
true. That's true. Yeah, absolutely. Robotech could be another one. Robotech would be a great one.
You're picking a lot. We're picking all the mech
I
ones.
said 80s. I said 80s.
I know. I mean, Dragon Ball Z was in the 80s. Could that be one? Probably not.
That'd be weird.
They
don't fly. I mean, I don't know.
They don't
There's
build
too many
things.
Dragon Ball Z games already.
You can't.
And unless you have, the air is like nothing but Saiyans flying. Or
Oh my
god! Like a big Broly flying over. I don't know.
Whoop, whoop.
This is a nerdy pod. I mean, no one's gonna know what the hell we're talking about if they're not nerds. That's funny.
Yeah, and that's the same reason why you should go see Free Guy. Not a plug, but Free Guy is very nerdy. But it's a rom-com, by the way, so women will like it too.
Yeah, there you go. So so when we play these games overall, is it satisfying to look at the stats at the end, like how many things you built or how many things you destroyed, or especially if you lose? Like, do you laugh at it? No. What do you think?
I take it seriously. You need to. Any game developer there needs to be more data. Always more data.
More data.
More.
This guy tripped on his shoes. How many of my soldiers tripped on their shoelaces?
How many times did the person go, I'm being attacked by ground forces? I understand that. Or how many times did they say, your ally is under attack? No shit.
You know what I would like?
Or
what I'd like?
What?
How you said they dominate you sometimes, like you're not ready. Like I would like the computer characters to have more phrases like, "Well, this is what you get for researching so much," or if they just make smart ass comments about well, maybe I would have done better if I had some armor or body armor. Or,
oh my god!
Whatever.
I mean, I feel like some of the characters are sassy.
Tell my wife I loved her. As the last guy yells something out. You know what I mean?
Well, they already say stupid
I regret
shit,
nothing.
Like you get the flamethrower guys out, and they're like, "What do you guys need to burn down?" Like.
Right.
You're like, oh my god.
Right. But you know what I mean? Wouldn't it be funny if they had those phrases? So
yeah, you could turn on the filter of be more sassy.
I mean, that would be enough for what do you call it? The DLC. I would buy DLC. The funnier they were, the better. I'd buy a shit ton of that. So if you're listening, developers, the funnier they comments, the better.
But just remember, we will be uploading this. It'll be like time stamped, and we'll know. So
yes, and we will be coming after our profits.
I mean, in a sense, this is a poor man's copyright. We've said it. We've done it. We're putting a timestamp on it, and Podbean we'll go to lawyers. We get Podbean to look. Did we modify this since we uploaded it? And they're gonna go no or yes, depending on who we are, and we'll kick them back some money, and we'll move on with our lives.
No, I'm not agreeing to that. I'm not kicking back anything.
Oh, Podbean, I'll kick back a little on my share just because I know you can help us out.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, well, on that final note, thank you for listening to Entertainment Banter. My name is Matt.
Cool haircut, by the way.
Thanks.
And my name is Joel. And I'm done. If you enjoyed that one, you're going to enjoy this one.